Look.
Listen.
Welcome to Look, Listen with Geese Guyera. Full title of the podcast. No Taylor this week.
He's pooping.
Oh yeah, he's in some terrible medical trouble right now. But we have Geese, who we haven't seen in at least a month. Geese
Guys.
Say hello.
It's been a long time. How long? No one knows.
I would say at least a month. This is a podcast about Pokemon and other things. Every Friday we publish an episode of this, except for last week where it was a Saturday and everyone's still upset. It's so funny to me. Before Geese even gets into her Geese of the Week, it's so funny to me that my watch and play and looking this week was all things Taylor wanted me to see and talk about. And now I watched it all and he's not here because he's too busy with the colon cleaning cleanser. He's passing in and out of consciousness with anesthesia.
He's fine.
But he did send us a question this week about who knows what. We'll find out at the end of the episode. Clambos, let's begin with Geese's Geese of the Week. Geese Peep, what did you do this month?
So I went from Denver back home, and then I went to Connecticut, and I got some New Haven pizza, which is good.
Ooh. I want Connecticut pizza so bad. I just want to try a hot oil pizza. Is it too much to ask?
It's good, and we'd even go to one of the famous places. So next time I'm going to go to Modern's Pizza. I think it's a really famous one. I went birding with my sister, and I was really hoping to see some seals. But unfortunately, I did not see any seals. But it was a good visit. I took the train, which was fun. And then I went back to Maryland after that. And then I went to Florida, and I'm still in Florida.
We are a couple of traveling people. Because I recently got back from Japan and haven't even gotten into all the fun stuff I did. Maybe next week we'll have both Taylor and Geese Peep weekend.
Yeah, you should do it. You should debrief both of us so you don't have to do it twice.
But, everybody knows the important stuff. Ate a bunch of curry, bunch of beef bowls. Went to every Pokemon Center, pretty much, in Japan.
Did you not have as much fun without me?
Yes, it's more fun with Geese Peep adventuring across the country because she plans out things to do. Clambos, turns out sometimes when you just go to a random city with no plan, just on the west coast of Japan, it's fine.
You just were you wandering around?
Yeah, I'd Google things to do, and sometimes I'd find stuff. But really, look, we're gonna move on from this, but all I have to say is visiting Japan is great when you don't have a British person in your ear telling you what you're allowed to eat. Because at the end of the day, Geese is giving some eyebrows on that one. Basically, I know a lot of British people who get all worked up if you tell them you're eating specific things in Japan, and they say, you should be eating this, no, you should be eating this. Look, I went to a number of places on my trip. They're highly recommended. Oh, you wait in line forever. And they weren't as good as delicious beef bowl from Sukiya. So I don't know what to tell you.
Why would you ever listen to a British person for food recommendations?
Got 'em!
I'm sorry, but also, how many British people do you know?
It's 2, but that's more than 1.
That is more than 1.
But it's just they have this, because they're always goofing on Americans going to dongles in Japan. And look, you listen to me, British people, right now. When I go to dongles in Japan, I'm not just getting a quarter pounder with cheese. I'm getting exclusive menu items I can't eat. I'm getting ebi fireo. I'm getting chicken teriyaki setto, aisu kohi, furoto. I'm not eating American stuff. I'm eating only the Japan stuff.
The chicken.
Shaka shaka. Yeah, shaka shaka chicken. Shaka shaka fries. Potato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
That's a giant swear word. To bleep that out. Okay. Let's move on to Lookin, playing, watching this week.
No, I'm not done talking.
She's not done, Clambos. Can you give her a second? Geese, please continue.
Okay, so I've been in Florida, and my whole family was here for a week because it was spring break, and we went to the beach, and it was a lot of fun. And at the beach, there was a sandbar out in the water, And so I got my goggles and I found so many sand dollars.
Wow.
Just a bag full of sand dollars. And been birding and I went kayaking and I saw a manatee and 3 eagles.
Holy moly. And I ate a samurai mac in Japan, which is delicious.
Ooh, what's on that?
It's this delicious soy sauce kind of sauce. It's basically like a quarter pounder, like I mentioned earlier, but the sauce is great.
Honestly, I really like the chicken teriyaki burger. It's really good.
Very good. And Geese Peep, ever since, because you went when it was pretty still restricted. They had just opened the borders just to people who had all their vaccinations and everything. But now the borders are completely open for anybody to come over. It's like it's a different city. There's so much English being spoken by the staff. And there's so many order machines and dongles. It's crazy where you could pick English. And it stinks because I spend all this year on Duolingo learning more Japanese just for me to walk in. They're like, Ego menu? And I'm like, no, I got it. Daijoubu. Blendo coffee, kochira de, M saizu, onegaishimasu. Arigato. I spent a year working on that.
Because each time you go now, there's going to be more English. So you're going to keep getting more and more upset.
It's exactly. I mean, it's not as bad as a lot of people because a lot of people they're completely fluent, having full conversations, and people are still speaking back to them in English. But honestly, I think that is the best way to do it. I think you should both speak to each other in the language you're not fluent in. Don't you think that makes more sense? Because it actually works out the best if you're speaking broken Japanese and they're speaking broken English to you, because then I think the most is going to be understood because we can glean what the other is trying to say because we have such a knowledge base of that language. Anyway, we'll talk about Japan more. Let's move on to watching, playing, eating. This week, I watched Dune 2, which, Geese Peep, I didn't know that this was not the end of Dune. This is only part 2. There's more to come. And Clambos. I feel so bad for poor baby David Lynch, who made Dune, didn't get final cut. They told him he can't go over an hour and 40 minutes or something. And I'm just thinking, this Dune movie gets at least 3 giant 3-hour movies, and he's just steaming because he couldn't put in hardly anything he wanted to put in, poor boy. Also, Taylor kept trying to tell me to see this movie called Love Lives Bleeding.
Ooh.
Oh, did you like that movie?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I just want to see it.
Oh, it was okay. All right. I just thought it was a romance movie, but there's more to it than that. I saw like a second of I already mentioned this last week, but I saw a second of a trailer that looked like there was an Incredible Hulk in it. So I went, okay, I'll see. It's all right. The problem with me, Geese Peep, is I saw so many good movies last year, and I'm going to toot my own horn because when the Oscars all were announced and we saw the winners, I said, yep, I told you guys those were the best movies, and they won. They all won. But the problem is, because I saw so many good movies last year, every time I go to the movies now, it's going to be disappointing. So what are you going to do? Geese did a little thing with her hand that similar to what are you going to do?
It's unfortunate because they've already made the best movies, and they're never going to make anything better than the movies you've seen.
Yeah, that is very depressing. Also, I played 30 minutes of Final Fantasy Rebirth. Not okay, guys. It's embarrassing because it's such the normie little answer, but Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. My hipster answer is Katamari Forever is my favorite game of all time. And to answer the question, what's the best game of all time? I say Ocarina of Time. But I'm rambling. All that to say, this game comes out as soon as I get to Japan. Don't have a second to play in Japan, obviously. So busy when I get back. Don't have a second to play it when I get here. I have played this so anticipated game for 30 minutes, and it's been out for like almost a month now. You kidding me? You joking me? I hope I'll get to play it. I'll play it tomorrow. Geese is nodding her head yes on this audio podcast. Everybody loves to hear it.
Yeah. And
then for my eating this week, real quick, I'm just trying to relive Japan. I'm literally just going to Koko Ichibanya and Kura Sushi now I'm... God, I'm the kind of people they make fun of in the Instagram reels, Geese Peep, because I'm saying things like, oh, do you have this one little condiment that they have in the Japanese stores? And they're like, oh, yes, sir. And they're like grabbing it from the back. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I'm not being obnoxious. I'm not walking in there like speaking Japanese. I'm just
like, hey.
Yeah, in the classic Japanese, hey. But I am asking for the little guys that they don't keep out on the table in the United States because you can't have nice things in the United States. Oh
what little guys?
Little like the red pepper stuff and the there's this sauce at Coco Ichibanya that I had a lot of in Japan, but I'd never had it in the United States. This tonkatsu sauce that you pour all over your curry. Super good. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. I already said we're not going to keep talking about Japan, but riding the trains in Los Angeles after riding the trains in Japan, you gotta live over there for at least some amount of time. All right, let's move on to Geese's. Well, we already did Geese of the Week, but Geese's. Watching, playing, eating. Geese, go ahead, please.
I did watch Antiques Roadshow last night, and my mom and I applied to win tickets for the roadshow in Baltimore, so really hoping we get them, because that'd be really cool.
You entered a drawing to get them?
Yeah.
Sick.
So it's like the actual roadshow where, like, you know, they film it.
And you get to be in the background of the shot going, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly eating. I had New Haven pizza. I had in Florida. Big news, guys.
Big news.
It has been my father's dream to go to see where they grow a lot of kumquats. And so he finally got to go to the Kumquat Farmers of America or whatever organization headquarters, and he bought so many kumquats and is so excited. Have you ever eaten a kumquat?
I don't think so. Maybe it was in a dish and I was unaware.
It's a citrus, but the thing is, you eat it whole, like the rind and everything. He got sour ones and sweet ones. I didn't like the sweet ones, but the sour ones were okay. But I don't know. I really do not like the feeling of eating like orange skin, basically.
I could probably do it because when I was a kid, I used to eat all of a kiwi, the delicious hairy skin and all. So tasty.
Wow. But yeah, we got kumquats. We went to Culver's twice. I got chili cheese fries because their chili is so good. Their fries are like,
They're crinkle cut. They're fine. Well, there's a lot of crinkle cut haters out there, and they need to just maybe calm down a little bit.
If you're going to Culver's, you should get onion rings instead of fries.
I've had incredible onion rings in my life, but I would say overall, most places the French fries taste better than the onion ring. Most places.
I've also, since I'm in Florida, been eating a lot of pub subs from Publix. I'm shaking it up. Usually I get the chicken tender sub or the falafel sub, but this time I'm getting roast beef with onions, banana peppers, tomato, lettuce. It's pretty good.
I love roast beef from Arby's, but most roast beef outside of Arby's, they just want to slather it with so much mayonnaise and other gross stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like it cold too much, but a hot roast beef sandwich covered in cheddar and Arby's sauce, now we're talking.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those are the highlights for me.
Does that mean it's time for Pokenews of the Week? Clambos, the next Pokemon Go Community Day Classic has been announced. This comes via Cerebi, of course, as always. April 7th, 2024. We'll focus on Bagon, everybody's favorite little baby dragon that turns into a little baby dragon in a little circular shell kind of thing and turns into Salamence, a big flying dragon. April 7th, 2024, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., get your shinies. You need at least 3 for Bagon, Shelgon, and Salamence. And that's been Pokenews of the Week.
Wait, what about...
And Geese's Update of the Week. Pokemon Sleep Raikou Research, March 25th through April 8th, and it adds Raikou into the game. And that's very amusing because that is a legendary Pokemon, and he's just going to be sleeping with Dedenne, I guess. Just hanging out, napping in the fields. And now, time to move on to a Pokemon episode of the week. Geese Peep, why don't you let us know so many things, such as the title of this week's episode in English, how you felt about the last few episodes that you weren't on the podcast about, maybe a one-sentence synopsis, maybe a last time on Pokes. Take it away.
All right. I will start by talking about the last 2 episodes I missed. So, episode 37, that was Desert 1, right? With the rock and the alligators.
Yeah, tiny baby Sandiles and Fuecoco getting into a lot of hijinks.
That was okay.
I thought you'd love the babies.
The babies were cute. Yeah, the babies were cute. Just not my favorite episode.
And then Mousehold, the next episode.
Mousehold was very cute. I have a question.
Yes. Question
Chansey.
Chansey, yes. Is it the exact same question Taylor had about her eggs?
Yes! A Pokemon doesn't come out of that egg, right?
Correct. That is an unfertilized egg. That's just an egg you can eat to get health. So she uses the move soft boiled and can eat the egg and get hit points or give the egg to someone else. Chansey always just has a little egg right there.
So she offers it during a trying time.
Yes, exactly. But she's been doing that way before Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She's been using soft boiled since 1995 or something.
That was cute. It was not my favorite episode, but it was cute. I liked it. I liked it more than the alligator one.
You didn't like anything.
Okay, so now the name of today's episode is Tinkatink and her special hammer, or Tinkatink and her special hammer of her obsession.
Yeah, just however you want to translate the Japanese title, which of course is Kanuchan to Kodawari no Hanmā. Kanuchan to Kodawari no Kanuchan to Kodawari no Hanmā.
And my one sentence synopsis is Mike troubles get hammered out.
Which is a very good one sentence synopsis. Very clever.
Thank you.
All right, Clambos, let's discuss what happened this week in books. We open with a neato thing countdown for a live stream, as everyone is familiar with if you watch live streams on twitch.tv. Oh no, Clambos, there's a bunch of tech issues. What are we going to do? And Liko's freaking out because she's, of course, watching the stream. So she runs over to the door. What happens, Geese?
She runs in, sees smoke, and sees Dot coming out of the costume. And she closes her eyes. And she's like, Nita thing, there's no one inside of her. She's like freaking out.
It was very funny. It was because at first it looks like she just doesn't want to see Dot without all her clothes on or something. But then she's trying to convince herself that this fictional character is real or something.
Yeah.
But her computer explodes, the stream's canceled, and then we move on to a scene where the Rising Volt Tacklers discuss going to Tetsuron Town. And this is an anime exclusive region. We don't know where this is, geographically speaking.
Somewhere on the way to Paldea.
But it has Paldean Pokemon in it, so clearly couldn't be that far away because Tinkatink is, of course, a Paldean Poke. This city, Geese, it's good for machines and industrial whatnots.
Ooh.
Which is handy because Dot needs a new microphone.
A condenser type unidirectional cardioid.
Very specific. And then everybody argues over whether Dot's going to go into town or not.
Let me set the scene. All of them are at the table, the decision table, / the kitchen.
/ the breakfast nook.
And Liko and Roy are like, you should come with us. Like, Liko is like very stressed out because she's like, I do not understand microphones. I'm not going to do this right. And Dot's all embarrassed. And Murdoch steps in, is like, Dot's not going anywhere. She has too much work.
Well, he's just saying that to protect her because he thinks she doesn't want to go.
After that, still undecided, Dot's probably not going to go at this point. Then, as everyone's getting off the Great Salami, Dot steps out of the door and she's like, I'm going to go.
And then we get the intro song. And after we come back from the intro song, we cut to the factory town. And boy, are there a lot of Pokemon here, Clambos. We see Ferroseed, Bronzor, Bonsly, Roly-Coly, Bronzor, Geodude, Machop, Magnemite, Jigglypuff, Magneton, Fletchling, maybe a Poliwag, and maybe a Chimchar in the way, way distant. Before we even get into review the episode of the week, whoever the director of this episode is, feels exactly the same way I do about those long drawn out shots where you draw the characters super tiny and low pixel, low poly. That's like a big meme on the internet, is pictures of low poly Pikachu or low pixel. I forget the term they use, but it's a very tiny, not detailed drawing, and they're always wonderful. They're always adorable. But we get a lot of that in this episode, of very small art. Just tiny 2-pixel high little Fuecoco and team.
You know what was really funny? So the kids are all looking outside in like the bins of the stores for stuff and looking at merchandise. Liko and Roy are looking at old electronics. And Liko's like, why is this old TV so bulky? Is there something in it? And then Roy's like, this is how they used to listen to music? And I thought that was very sweet.
It's very cute. Pokemon for the new generation. Because it's tougher to do that with a character like Ash. Because Ash would have been interacting with 90s technology. Yeah, the kids are amazed by the old technology, and then they all get separated. As per usual, Liko and Roy wander off.
Dot is looking through one of the bins outside a store. She finds an old-timey looking microphone, and she's like, oh, this would be a good prop for streams. So she buys it. And then she walks away and realizes she got separated from Liko and Roy. She thinks about calling them. She's like, no, I won't call them. I don't want them to think I'm lost. So she's just determined to go on her way. And then she hears something. She hears a man. She goes down this alley. She sees a dock worker or some kind of industrial worker.
A longshoreman. It's a guy who works with metal at a factory.
Yeah, some guy. And he's yelling at this Pokemon.
And she's just a baby.
Just a baby trying to hammer herself a hammer.
It's a little Tinkatink, and she's trying so hard to pull this little piece of iron away from this man, and he's yelling at her, and she's crying. Oh my God. Clambos, as we all know, Tinkatink is just a baby, and all she wants is to make little hammers with little pieces of metal, and that's all she wants in life. Dot walks up to her and tries to comfort her because she's so sad. But Geese Peep, what does Tinkatink notice that Dot has?
The microphone.
That's made of metal. And what did she start doing to the microphone?
She yanks it and starts hammering away.
Oh no! She's gonna make the microphone into a hammer. Sort of, aren't there weapons like that in Yakuza 7? Like a dragon?
Oh yeah, there's microphones, because you can give it to the idol characters.
And then Dot hears Liko and Roy calling for her, and she is gonna be nice. She just lets Tinkatink be and say, all right, you can have the mic. Poor little girl. And honestly, Clambos, I gotta hand it to Tinkatink. She made a very nice hammer out of that microphone. It's very nice looking. Very pretty. Very cool. Then we cut to an absolutely hysterical shot of the Great Salami, the Brave Asagi, zoomed out, and we got Murdoch screaming when he sees Dot coming back. He's both happy and worried, and it's the voice acting sometimes in this series. This episode, I have 2 instances of just voice acting that's too good. It's just like, it should be reserved for a way higher brow anime, and it's just this little kid's anime. Crazy voice acting.
This moment is so sweet. He gives her a big hug, and he's so proud of her for going and out of her comfort zone out in public. Because, like, this is obviously, Dot has been struggling with being out in public, very stuck indoors. So he's really proud of her. It's really sweet.
It's very nice. And everybody's going to celebrate with everybody's favorite kind of party. That's right, a curry party. Oh, yeah. Even though they had curry yesterday, it's fine. You know how many times I had curry? Clambos. It didn't matter if I had curry that morning. We're having more curry tonight. Especially since did I tell you, Geese Peep, about the special limited edition Koko Ichibanya Koko Neko Ichi rubber guys, the toys, the Koko Neko Ichi Seto?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
There are these limited edition blind box toys you would get if you ordered a specific set meal at Koko Ichibanya. So I was going all around the country ordering this meal, trying to get the different ones.
That would get me. Get me.
It got me. Okay. Okay, now, after this big, nice scene, it seems there seems to be some sort of rustling, rumbling under the Great Salami. What is this, Dune? What is this, Tremors? What's going on down there?
It is Dune.
And then we cut to Fishing Ludlow, everybody's absolute favorite part of any episode. He's saying some poem, haiku, something or other. And oddly enough, His poems never have anything to do with what happens in the episode. Maybe his poems are foreshadowing for future episodes. Because his poem this week is about the calm before the storm.
Oh.
We'll see. Then we cut to the inside. We see Mousehold playing around. And then they see something and they scream.
The really funny scream. They're like...
Yeah, it's barely audible, but their mouths open very wide. But there's metal twisting. It's very scary what's going on in here. And we cut to a commercial break. We cut back to Oreos walking down into... Geese, what do you call this area? It's like the basement of the ship, not the brig. You say galley?
Galley? Is that a thing?
It's where they keep... I thought galley was food. But it's where they keep all their spare metal. Oreos discovers all this damage to all their metal. And she says, who did this? All you get over here right now. And I promise you won't get in trouble. She's screaming this, by the way.
She accuses Murdoch of stealing the iron to make pots and pans.
Very funny. It's actually a very funny scene because doesn't Murdoch say, pretty sure you're already furious? Because she says, I'm not going to get mad.
Yeah.
And then we cut to little baby Tinkatink, and she's climbing up on board the ship with her little microphone hammer. So cute. And she walks, and I guess she's not paying attention because she walks directly into a lowland muck, and both of them just started screaming. So then she runs to the furnace. But that's spooky too. The boiler room, there's Carcoal and Slugma, and they both look at her. This poor little baby girl is... Baby girl. That sounds funny. This poor little baby is terrified. She's so scared. And then we cut to Dot. This episode jumping around a lot now. She discovers a giant hole in the wall of this basement iron storage area that we don't know the word for. I wrote brig, but I think brig is a prison, isn't it? Throw in the brig.
Ship.
Storage area.
Storage.
Bridge? Maybe it's the bridge. No, bridge is...
Area.
We need a ship expert.
A ship's cargo area is something called a cargo area.
All right.
A hold, also called a hold.
Oh, maybe a hold.
It can be the cargo hold or cargo.
Well, no matter what you call it, there's a giant hole down there, and there's no way that Tinkatink could have made that giant hole.
You know what I was thinking?
What was Geese thinking?
When I saw Tinkatink, and I knew obviously she was going to become a team member, I was thinking, wow, the next time they see Amaranth and his Corviknight, she is going to go off.
She's going to be so upset. Well, because that's Tinkaton's thing. I wonder if the babies don't feel that hatred, and it's not until they grow up into a Tinkaton. Or if they're born hating that bird.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And then Tinkatink's running around, and she sees this very spooky shadow of Metagross and Elekid just playing, but she thinks it's a giant monster, so she runs away from that. God, the poor trauma this Pokemon is experiencing. But luckily, finally, Dot finds her. She grabs her. Tinkatink shows off her little mic to Dot. She came all the way over to show the mic. And actually, was she trying to give the hammer to Dot? She was, right?
Yeah, that's why she came back.
So cute. But then Dot says, no, that's okay, Tinkatink. You can have it. And Tinkatink loves it, Geese, and she snuggles with it.
And then Murdoch walks in and is like, what is that? And then Tinkatink starts getting scared.
And don't forget, Liko and Roy show up too, and Fuecoco starts approaching Tinkatink, but she gets all defensive and thinks Fuecoco's going to steal her hammer, so she pulls it away. Very funny. But what does Murdoch accuse Tink of doing?
Stealing the iron.
No, she didn't. So she runs away. She's scared off. And then Geese Peep, the chase ensues. We got Rockruff barking, and they try to trap her, Geese Peep. And what is she doing?
She's running around crying. And Dot is just like, stop.
She saves the day. She jumps in front of Tinkatink and says it wasn't her. Dot calmly explains to everybody that Tinkatink just showed up to show off the hammer and give it back to Dot. Also, look, the hole is 50 times the size of Tinkatink. How could she possibly do that? Use your brains, people.
Guys, come on.
So, Geese, after Dot explains this, who shows up to give a professor's seminar all about...
Frito.
What does he say to everyone?
Yeah, she didn't do it. They're not known to eat iron.
And look, there's Poke bite marks on the metal. Turns out it was Orthworm.
It was, Dune. What an appropriate time this came out.
That is an appropriate time. Because I wanted to see Dune so bad, but again, came out the day I left for Japan, so I had to wait a couple weeks. I couldn't believe it. The theater was still packed, even though it had been out for weeks. I guess because I went to go see IMAX 70mm, and that's more rare, so there's probably only a couple showings anywhere that have that.
I hope it's still in theaters by the time I get back home.
When will that be?
Beginning of April.
You could find a showing, I bet, but I don't know if you're going to find a good IMAX because there's so many more movies coming out.
I don't care about seeing it on IMAX.
But you have to. It's so big. Somehow Fritos had enough time to set up an elaborate rope trap for Orthworm and not tell anybody. That's Fritos' favorite thing to do, is not tell people.
I hate it. I hate it. Communicate.
Well, anyway, then it's revealed. We see Orthworm covered in ropes. Caught him. Look, we did it. But then it escapes Geese Peep. And then it goes straight for
Tinkatink's microphone hammer.
Oh, no. And he starts to eat it. Oh, my God. But Dot's not going to take this lion down. She says, Tinkatink, let's get that hammer back. And we see the salami start to fly away. Oh no, the Orthworm ate the anchor, so now we're in big trouble. It's tumble. It looks like the Titanic out here. It's falling over in the air, and they're all tripping and falling. Then we get a big, giant battle, Geese's favorite, on the sand dunes. We get Dot versus Orthworm. Quaxley, use water gun. And then in the middle of the battle, we see Fritos on the Charizard with Cap trying to pull and grab the salami back in place with the ropes. And he yells out to Dot, Dot, get that hammer. And then, Geese, what does Dot do to get into serious business mode?
She takes her headband, puts it back in her hair, and she's like, mental shift time.
Mental switch on, water gun, and Orthworm. Oh my God, what a name for a Pokemon, huh?
Wait, before you go on, when she puts the headband on, it reminded me of Ash and his hat.
Uh-oh. Inspiration, perhaps.
Homage.
Orthworm is goofing and taunting and dodging.
I love the way this worm looks. He's just a silly guy.
He's absurd. He's absolutely... And he was crashing games, too. My Scarlet and Violet crashed because of a giant Orthworm. I hate this guy.
Why?
I mean, you are aware that Scarlet and Violet have a lot of technical problems, and one of them is crashing. So luckily I saved before Orthworm, but I was very scared when my game crashed because of him. Because he has his own dumb cutscene, giant Orthworm. And Tinkatink starts chasing after him. Water gun! It doesn't seem to be working when Quaxley tries to water gun Orthworm himself. So Geese, what's the brilliant idea to do instead?
She's just gonna gonna trap the Earthworm or Orthworm in a circle and force it to go directly towards her.
Yeah, he's gonna because as we learn, the Orthworm is a steel type, so he doesn't want to get rusty from the water, so he avoids any wet sand. So when Quaxley makes a path for him by blocking every other way, then he comes right towards Dot.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh. We learn this as Oreos describes this to Liko and Roy, by the way. And then, Geese Peep, Orthworm is heading right towards Dot. And Dot yells, Quaxley, use pound. And what flies out of Orthworm's mouth? And then Tinkatink grabs it. And then she does the sickest Super Smash Brothers baseball bat hit onto Orthworm. And it gets knocked out for a second. And then Earthworm is so embarrassed and distraught, it just runs away. It has lost the battle, and Tinkatink has won the little baby.
The baby?
The baby? Clown the baby? Okay. Everybody congratulates Tinkatink because she did such a great job today. And she holds up her little microphone hammer triumphantly. Oh my God, what a Pokemon.
And now sunset.
You'll never guess. We cut to sunset, just like every single episode, which means the episode's almost over because it's sunset. Everybody's apologizing to Tinkatink, saying, I'm sorry for chasing you around, thinking you were a troublemaker, eating all the metal. And Geese, she starts to cry again because they're standing outside the Great Salami at this point, and they're about to get back on board and fly away from Tinkatink forever. But Geese?
But Dot turns around and is like, do you really want to come with me? And then Quaxley flips his hair dramatically and drops a Pokeball. And Dot's like, can I have your permission to catch you? And then she does. And Tinkatink is Dot's new companion.
And this is the other scene I was talking about earlier, when the level of seriousness for the line deliveries of Dot talking about how serious this is, catching a Pokemon. Even though we're getting new party members every day, they're acting like getting Tinkatink is the biggest thing that has ever happened in the history of Pokemon. It's very amusing. But Tinkatink's very cute. She jumps up and taps her little hammer on the Pokeball to get caught. It's adorable.
And Murdoch sheds a tear because he's so proud.
He says they grow up so fast. She's so happy. And then they have a big giant hug, Geese. And it's just so sweet.
Very cute.
Then we get a little ending, couple one-liners from everybody on the Rising Volt Tacklers, recapping the events. And we end finally on the Makeup Nido stream. And who does Nidothing introduce to her giant audience this week?
Tinkatink.
But Geese, what does Tinkatink notice on Nidothing's suit?
Her big metal zipper.
Oh no.
She starts going ham, and Quaxley has to run and cover the camera because Tinkatink is destroying the costume, and then the stream ends again.
Yep. Because we can't reveal the true identity of Nidothing, a.k.a. Dot, just because Tinkatink wants to play with the zipper and hammer. And then we get the to be continued, which brings us to Professor Frito's Seminar of the Week. Geese Peep, take it away.
Today's Pokemon of the week is, unsurprisingly, the Metalsmith Pokemon, Tinkatink. Tinkatink holds a hammer that is handmade. Do you know what she uses to make the hammer? Is it A, wood, B, metal, or C, rocks?
This one is an easy one. B, metal.
Correct. Primary material of the hammer is metal, such as iron. She remakes them over and over again, so she can often be seen in places with lots of scrap iron. Where there's metal, there's this Pokemon.
And then it ends with a amusing picture of Tinkatink causing absolute mayhem in the kitchen. She's destroyed all of the forks and knives trying to make hammers, and Captain Pikachu is aghast. Clambos, that was this week's episode of Pokemon Horizons, the anime. You weren't here last week, Geese, but the big Poke News of the week last week is they announced the third arc of the Liko and Roy anime. The first one was Liko and Roy Set Out. The second one, which we're in right now, is the Terapagos' Gleaming Adventures, Terapagos' Shine. And the third one is something about terastallizing. There's big spoilers on the picture, so don't look at the picture if you don't want to get spoiled on big spoiler. But needless to say, they make it to Paldea, and maybe, just maybe, they enroll in the big giant school from Scarlet and Violet. Spoiler. This episode about Tinkatink was very cute, very adorable. Art direction was great. They understand. Somebody on this team understands the beauty of a long shot with very tiny drawn Pokemon. It's the cutest thing imaginable. This episode knocked it out of the park. easy 9.5 out of 10. Geese, what's your review of the week?
Honestly, a 9 out of 10. This is one of my favorite episodes.
I don't believe it. Taylor will never believe it.
This is a good episode. It had no Liko internal monologue. It was a Dot episode, which I really like because it's, actually relatable to actual issues that kids face. And Dot, she experienced growth. She went out on her own volition to go shopping with her friends. She caught a Pokemon.
There's so many little moments in this one that are so much fun. Just the idea of all the kids looking at niche electronics. Very amusing what they have to think about it. Adorable Pokemon. Even if you don't like battles, the battle was kind of fun. You had mystery. You had Detective Fritos. What's not to like about this week's episode of Pokemon? They brought out the big guns. So that is the review of the week, which of course means, Geese Peep, unfortunately, unless we have more to discuss, it's time to move on to the wrap-up. Is there anything you want to say before we move on to the wrap-up?
Nope.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Go ahead, Geese.
I gotta watch hockey.
Hockey. Gotta make it in time for hockey. Go Oilers.
Go Oilers. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. You can find us at social media at Look, Listen, Cast on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Check out our YouTube for Michael posted his video of the going to the Pokemon centers. Check it out. It's on our YouTube page.
It's all true.
It's all true. I would never lie to the Clambos. Thank you to Keith for our artwork. You can follow him on twitch.tv/KeithSquared. He recently started streaming again, kind of, maybe. Who's to say?
What, one of these Cities Skylines types video games?
No, I think he was doing Sonic.
Sonic. Thank you to Professor Ticklebits for the boilerplate and ad edit. You can follow him on twitch.tv/prof_ticklebits. And thank you to our supporters. You can support us by going to looklistencast.com. There's a link there. Or on the podcast audio feeds, there's also a link, I believe, to the anchor.fm/Spotify for podcasters. Thank you so much. Please recommend this podcast to everyone. It doesn't matter who they are, on account of no swear words, except for the one Geese said earlier, which I have to bleep.
Hee hee.
It's a big swear word. And then, of course, please send your questions to looklistencast@gmail.com because we like to read a question at the end of every episode. This week, because Taylor's not here, he sent one in the haze, the miasma of his anesthesia. After I said it doesn't have to be related to Pokemon, he said, what Pokemon has the most utility in society? Not like the best battler, but the most in demand for services across the board. Geese, take it away with your answer to the question.
This just reminds me of the episode of Sun and Moon. I don't even think we got to it, but one of the later ones, or maybe it is, maybe we did. But Machamp, it's Machamp, and they're all carrying a bunch of wood that's needed to make houses, and they're all in like a pickup truck in the back, just picking up giant things of wood.
Very handy.
And then also,
that's hockey calling.
Sun and Moon. Yeah, that was hockey alarm. Also, Sun and Moon, the milk tank for the milk, and also like any flying Pokemon, because you know how Kiawe flies on Charizard to deliver the milk,
or Corviknight in Galar, but not Paldea. You could easily cheat with this one and just say a legendary Pokemon who could do anything and change dimensions and travel through time. You could also cheat and say Ditto, because Ditto could transform into anybody and do all these tasks. But at the end of the day, I think maybe a psychic type Pokemon like Alakazam, one of the telekinesis Pokemon, a Pokemon that can teleport and move things with their mind, I think is probably even more useful than a Machamp or a Strongpoke. Maybe more useful than like a Blastoise for a fire department. But you can't argue the milk, can you? Ice cream, delicious. So yeah, we'll go with Miltank for ice cream.
What about Rotom?
Well, yeah.
The cell phones and the washing machines and everything.
Rotom these days, yeah. When Rotom first was around, he didn't get nearly this much use, but in the anime now he's in everything. So he is very, very useful. because he doesn't even need electricity. Like, he could run his own electricity. He's very
All right, that's what I'm changing my answer to. Rotom.
Okay, she's going to do Rotom. I'll stick with her Miltank. That is the answer to the question this week, Taylor. All right. Thank you so much for listening. It's all time over. Time to say goodbye. Geese is going to say goodbye to you 3 times. Hopefully Taylor and Geese will be here next week. We haven't had an episode with all 3 of us in a month. And maybe it'll happen next week. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Geese, please say goodbye 3 times. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Farewell.
Howdy, y'all. It's me, Geese Pete. Thank you for listening to the Geese Pete Productions podcast.
Geese Peep Enterprises, doing business as Peep Industries, together with its subsidiaries, is a diversified worldwide entertainment company with operations in media networks, talent management, parks and resorts, multimedia entertainment, and consumer products and interactive media. Geese Peep Enterprises is a Dow 30 company